sorry, these that people are saying in the comments, this
Oh,
Shane,
no,
it's him.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
this is the one that Tony was talking about last night.
All right.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And I swear to God, if somebody did something to one of my
these convicted peddlers on here, St Churchill's, these convicted peddlers is a good one to go after as well. And I'll tell you why, because they've done their time. So there's no police matter. And also, if Tony was put posters up of like Jade Palmer, he's another one. He's been convicted, done his time and that, to let everyone know that this guy is living in the area.
Right, so like Jade Palmer, I mean, Fat Freaks has gone on about, has said about Jade Palmer.
Yeah. Yes,
What
and
about
if Tony
in my eyes, if somebody is doing, like Tony says, he 3 days he's been away from his family. He spent all that money.
We all think he's done an amazing job. 100%.
Like people are saying for clout and gifts and all that.
No. Listen, I can tell you one thing, guys. Tony hasn't done it for clout money.
People have said that.
Yeah.
But Jules, at first,
I don't agree with
No,
that.
sorry, wait a minute. I'm not against Tony putting up posters. I've never said that. I said, if it was my niece and the police didn't do anything, I'll be all for it, 100%. But I'm just saying, me personally, say if I was doing it, I would just do it down the police route, because I'd be a little bit worried about, getting in trouble and that kind of thing. But, all for Tony, if he wants.
And then our discussion went on to say he may
I
well be doing something in the background, mightn't he? He may well be doing something else that we don't know about.
That he is.
Yeah, not necessarily got Tony at all. You're getting the wrong end of the stick here. I'm just saying, me personally, I'd do it down the police route. You know what I mean? That's just me. But if Tony wants to do it down that route, that's fine. But there's another thing, like I said, another thing it should be is the convicted peddlers, to let them know that they're living in their area. Because how many people don't know who their neighbours are then?
I mean, you don't know who your next door neighbour is, do you? No. So if somebody informed you that person, or there was a person living in your area,
yeah,
it's just the same as like when you. I mean, my girls are older, but I know that my daughter has had emails from school saying that there's a man going around in a car. It's just the same. So Tony, actually, that's just reminded me, there is, all the schools in the area have been told. So things are, and you don't see, but that is what, and that's the only reason I've stepped up, because Tony did say that last night.
So, last night, because I only watched a little bit of Tony's live, did he say what he's going to do about Alpha Bar? Is he just putting posters around, or is he going to do what the Dave situation?
I'll hold my hands up. I didn't hear anything about Alpha Bar. He was saying, where did I hear?
Tony's here, and he's in the chat.
Who is?
Tony.
Yeah.
That big bloody chat for that warning.
He said last night.
Yeah.
Hi guys, can I just say one thing, please, and I'll drop down. In my old house, my next door neighbour was convicted, and one of the neighbours was going up and down the street, because the street had a lot of children, like obviously making people aware, because he'd got out on tag before he went to jail. Now the detectives went across and demanded that he stopped, unless he would sort of be arrested and that type of thing. So they had said we were not allowed to sort of spread that information. I must point out, we lived right next to a school, and he was the school bus driver for the high school.
Oh God!
Got caught with a child in the high school.
Yeah,
he was taken the house as well. So yeah, I just wanted to point out, like, you can get in deep trouble for sharing information.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because once they've done their time in the eyes of the law, like,
right, they're innocent.
Be all right with it.
Right, so once they do this crime, they're basically an innocent person. Is that what you're saying? But why can't people put posters around warning people of of what they did?
Because they've served their time technically.
Yeah, but surely people need to know who their neighbours are.
Right. It's like
for me,
right.
If somebody's a danger to the public, there should be warning signs up on every lamppost, every door, every window.
See,
I would like to know who's bloody living around here. Do you know what I mean?
The guy I'm talking about, this was as it was happening. He'd been arrested, and he was like about to go to jail. And even at that point, we're not allowed to share any information. I mean, people did.
We had a neighbour, and when I first moved to where I am, this neighbour, I've talked to him. I've got my son here. talked to him. He's friendly enough, you know what I mean? Seems fine. And then the next thing, we're all in shock because there's detectives, CID, everything arresting him, Black Mariah's everywhere, taking all his devices out, and it turns out that he were, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Guy on here, yeah, that I actually became friends with, right? And I joined the small community, and his name's Harrison. And I actually outed him on here, not just me, but another person, as being a pedlo, because he was talking to a young girl on here. Now, she was 16, 17, I can't remember, but to me, he's a 34-year-old man. I don't care what anyone says, that's still inappropriate. Okay, maybe at the time, I shouldn't have called him a pedlo, I suppose, because legally, it's 16 is legal, isn't it? But I'm sorry, but a 34-year-old man that goes with 16 is weird. Is not.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not going to get into the whole
So much
debate.
hate. But Chippy, I got so much hate for that. People saying, "Oh, but she's 16. It doesn't matter. He's 34, man."
It's morally wrong.
Guess what happened? Guess what happened? He's serving 5 years in prison. Because he had images on his computer. 5 years, and he's not allowed to, when he comes out, he's not allowed to use any devices, social media or anything like that. Serving 5 years in prison for being he's a peddler.
His name was Harrison.
Harrison.
Yeah,
You see, nobody called
I'm all
out.
for what they're doing, but I'm just worried they'll get in trouble, with the posters and sharing
That's my other
information.
problem on here, right? So it's morally wrong. So I'm not going to get deep into it, but the Lawrence affair. You with the young lad, the age difference was massive. He was still classed, for me, he's still a young lad. He's not an adult.
17-year-old boy.
He was 17. That's still a lad to me. I've got a 27-year-old. It's still a lad. Do you know what I
Can I
mean?
make a suggestion which might suit both sides of this issue? Rather than going live on TikTok when they're doing it now, it is a good thing that he's doing, right? Why don't they go to the person without going on TikTok, go to the schools, go and do everything they're doing right now, minus the posters at the moment, go and do that without being on TikTok. Once they've actually got the person and done it, then go on and expose the person once they're off the app. Because when you're doing it while you're looking for that person, people are being exposed to, oh, who is this? Some people might not know who that person was, like Sobriety Jack. So they're going to go on out of curiosity and find out who he is while this is ongoing. So do it all behind the scenes first, and then once you've caught him, then come on the app, giving them more exposure.
I think the danger also is an innocent person. There's nothing to do with Tony, because what he's done, they're not innocent, right? But like, say, with pedlo hunters, putting it on TikTok and things, doing it to an innocent person, you know what I mean? When they haven't been convicted yet, have they? Do you know what I mean? Because I remember a pedlo hunter that did that, and they actually caught this guy wanting to meet a 14-year-old, and they found out that this guy, well, I say guy, he's not a guy, he's a boy. He was 14 himself, and they put him all over TikTok. He was a
Can I
kid.
make a suggestion?
But that's where it gets dangerous, Angie, when people
Yeah.
are doing that, right? So
That's
you've
why
got to make sure you've got the proof.
Yeah, and some of these
You've got the
pedlo
proof.
hunters are being prosecuted, aren't they? Because they're actually plastering things on social media without having evidence, and it can be damaging, and they're being found innocent in the eyes of the law.
Andy,
Cool. Yeah.
can I just make a suggestion for tonight? Maybe we could do maybe we could do a debate on this tonight. It would be a good debate, and awareness for children and
Yeah, we've had a debate
parents.
yesterday and the day before that, actually.
Yeah, I know, but then we had Pearl come in one day, didn't we? And then we had Alex the next day. They're just trying to mess up your lives every night.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people on
Debates
here who
these days,
don't know Sobriety Jack. Like my son's 16. He's never heard of Sobriety Jack. He very rarely comes on here, but anyway, when he does, he doesn't know who he is. So that all I'm trying to say is that when you're going on this guy, I'm going to go and look for him. And so people who aren't aware are starting to find out who he is. Maybe it's better to let them find out who he is once he's gone from the app, and then he's less of a risk. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it does make
completely
sense.
agree with you, Millsy, in that sense that you're warning them, aren't you?
Because what happened with Alphaba? Because apparently she went live, I don't know, this morning and said something towards Tony. I don't know. Let me have a look.
Well, look at what Mills has just said. Look at the Dave the Rave thing. So wasn't his caravan burnt out before they got there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
that was
that
one
could
thing
have
that annoyed
provided
me,
lots of
right,
evidence
Chippy?
if we didn't know they were coming.
Chippy,
That-
why did Tony not ask him at that time when he had him on live at the car? Why did you burn down your caravan? There was a lot of questions that he could have asked that we all wanted to know, and he was put on the spot, and it was just to see what his reaction and his response would be. But he didn't. I know Tony's probably didn't expect him to come out and was a bit kind of in the moment, but I mean, he should have asked him those questions. Why did you do that? Why did you burn that down? To see what he said, because he did come out and say, "Oh well, if you want to see my devices, then hand it to the police." But obviously, we know his PCs are gone; they're burnt into cinders. So
Maybe Tony's already took it to the police and he
No,
couldn't say
So
much. That's
basically,
maybe
guys,
what it was.
Alphabet's video she made, I think, 6 hours ago, right? This is regarding Tony coming to her house. I thought someone said something about a knife.
That
But
was last night,
Somebody put in
apparently.
comments that she's.
No, I'm not going to stop because no one's taken up for me against this group. No one. Alphabet exposed. Imagine you getting banned. Imagine you getting banned everywhere you go. Imagine you getting banned every single way you go because of these people calling up the place. Imagine, right? Let me try and say it's not dramatically. Imagine people calling up a place where you want to eat, so you get banned and you want to pay for a normal meal. You just want to go. Imagine getting banned from gigs that you put you in your rent money, your job, your singing, your stuff. Imagine people trying to get you arrested. Imagine people trying to end your life. Imagine people putting posters of your face all over the city. This is a fucking witch hunt.
No pun intended. Sorry.
Witch hunt.